top 10 best movies based on books of all time that will blow your mind. There are plenty of films based on books, but whenever a new movie from book comes out, there is an endless amount of whining about how Hollywood isn't original and why can't they write their own stories. That's simple. It's because these amazing stories are already written and Hollywood has the means to bring them to life, and sometimes they do it better than even your imagination thought possible. This list looks at the films based on the books, novels, literature, or nonfiction that made you want to reread the book. Started endless, which was better, the movie or the book debates, made you squeal with delight that you pictured it that way in your head, and just blew your frickin' mind. Welcome to DLP Movie, and here is the top 10 best movies based on books of all time that will blow your mind. The Shining. The Shining is a 1980 British-American psychological horror film produced and directed by Stanley Kubrick, and based on Stephen King's 1977 novel The Shining. Although contemporary responses from critics were mixed, assessment became more favorable in following decades, and it is now widely regarded as one of the greatest horror films ever made. Critics, scholars, and crew members have discussed the film's enormous influence on popular culture. Schindler's List. Schindler's List is a 1993 American epic historical period drama film, directed and co-produced by Steven Spielberg and scripted by Steven Zaillian. It is based on the novel Schindler's Ark by Thomas Keneally, an Australian novelist. The film is based on the life of Oskar Schindler, an ethnic German businessman who saved the lives of more than 1,000, mostly Polish Jewish refugees during the Holocaust by employing them in his factories. Oskar Schindler would have been an easier man to understand if he'd been a conventional hero, fighting for his beliefs. The fact that he was flawed, a drinker, a gambler, a womanizer, driven by greed and a lust for high living, makes his life an enigma. The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz is a 1939 American musical comedy drama fantasy film produced by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, and the most well-known and commercially successful adaptation, based on the 1900 novel The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum.
The last to go will see the first three go before her. And their mangy little dog, too.
The movie is about Dorothy Gale, an orphaned young girl unhappy with her drab black and white existence on her aunt and uncle's dusty Kansas farm. Dorothy yearns to travel over the rainbow to a different world, and she gets her wish when a tornado whisks her and her little dog, Toto, to the technicolorful land of Oz, notable for its use of technicolor, fantasy storytelling, musical score, and unusual characters. Over the years, it has become an icon of American popular culture. To Kill a Mockingbird. To Kill a Mockingbird is the movie based on the Harper Lee novel of the same name about Scout, Jem and their father, Atticus Finch, who is an attorney in a small southern town. It is both a coming-of-age story about the children as well as a hard-hitting drama, as Atticus defends black man who is on trial for the rape of a white woman.
Will you please catch it with your left hand?
I can't, sir.
Why can't you?
I can't use my left hand at all.
It is undoubtedly one of the best and most moving films ever made. No other racial injustice or discriminatory-based movie can even compare with To Kill a Mockingbird. This movie not only makes you sympathize with those who were being discriminated against, but also those who fought for those people. The Silence of the Lambs. The Silence of the Lambs is a 1991 American psychological thriller film directed by Jonathan Demme, adapted by Ted Talley from the 1988 novel of the same name by Thomas Harris, his second to feature the character of Dr. Hannibal Lecter, a brilliant psychiatrist and cannibalistic serial killer. The film was the second adaptation of a Harris novel featuring Lecter. In the film, Clarice Starling, a young US FBI trainee, seeks the advice of the imprisoned Dr. Lecter to apprehend another serial killer, known only as Buffalo Bill.
How very thoughtful. Or did Jack Crawford send you for one last wheedle before you're both booted off the case?
No, I came because I wanted to.
The Silence of the Lambs, having accomplished the rare feat of winning all 5 of the major Academy Award categories, is a remarkable achievement in filmmaking. The Godfather. The Godfather is a 1972 American crime film directed by Francis Ford Coppola based on Mario Puzo's best-selling novel of the same name.
I never wanted this for you. I worked my whole life. I don't apologize to take care of my family.
The story, spanning 1945 to 1955, chronicles the family under the patriarch Vito Corleone, focusing on the transformation of Michael Corleone, Pacino, from reluctant family outsider to ruthless mafia boss. The Godfather is widely regarded as one of the greatest films in world cinema and one of the most influential, especially in the gangster genre. The acting from everyone involved is great. Marlon Brando comes across perfectly as the head of the family, and James Caan and Al Pacino are excellent as his sons. The soundtrack by Nino Rota is also very memorable. The plot has to be excellent for it to get 10 out of 10, and it is. It's far from predictable, and the film is the definition of the great epic. The Green Mile. The Green Mile is a 1999 American fantasy crime drama film written and directed by Frank Darabont, and adapted from the 1996 Stephen King novel of the same name. The film tells the story of Paul's life as a death row officer during the Great Depression in the United States, and the supernatural events he witnessed.
Condemned to die in the electric chair by a jury of your peers, sentence imposed by a judge in good standing in this state. Questions?
Do you leave the light on after bedtime?
The Green Mile is a masterwork. This is film as art, at its very best. The depth of the cast is extraordinary, with all of the players delivering excellent performances. There is a clear sense here that all involved in the production knew that this was something special, and gave it their all. The Lord of the Rings film trilogue.
Let's face it, Mr. Frodo, we're lost. We're not alone.
The Lord of the Rings is a film series consisting of 3 high-adventure films directed by Peter Jackson. They are based on the novel The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien, a trilogy of movies created with such love and care and utter perfection of craft, that you can't help but walk away and wonder, how did Peter Jackson make this possible? The series was a major financial success, with the films collectively being among the highest-grossing film series of all time. The series received wide praise for its innovative special and visual effects. The Shawshank Redemption. The Shawshank Redemption is a 1994 American drama film written and directed by Frank Darabont, adapted from the Stephen King novella Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption. The film tells the story of Andy Dufresne, a banker who was sentenced to life in Shawshank State Penitentiary for the murder of his wife and her lover, despite his claims of innocence. During his time at the prison, he befriends a fellow inmate, Alice Boyd Red Redding, and finds himself protected by the guards after the warden begins using him in his money laundering operation. Although the film was a box office disappointment, it received multiple award nominations and highly positive reviews from critics for its acting, story, and realism.
I see you two all the time. You're thick as thieves, you are. Big damn.
It is now considered to be one of the greatest films of the 1990s. Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is a 1994 American comedy drama film, based on the 1986 novel of the same name by Winston Groom. The story depicts several decades in the life of Forrest Gump, a slow-witted but kind-hearted, good-natured and athletically prodigious man from Alabama who witnesses, and in some cases influences, some of the defining events of the latter half of the 20th century in the United States.
Now, you wouldn't believe it if I told you, but I can run like the wind blows.
Who in the hell is that?
That there's Forrest Gump, Coach. Just a local idiot. I never thought it would take me anywhere.
The movie has it all too. Drama, comedy, and it challenges societal norms as well. Then there are the almost endless quotes from the movie that have slipped into everyday speech. Forrest Gump is a remarkable movie and inspires everyone. It's not just about someone stupid who happens to be in great places and historic events, just because of being in the right place at the right time. This story is beautiful and will inspire everyone to go the distance and see the world like Forrest did and will never give up on their dreams. What is your favorite movie from the list? Let us know below and do not forget to subscribe.